and politics. Informative, educative, and analytical. Getting to the real issues that affect an ordinary individual in areas of leadership, governance, social, and economy. The truth, the lies, and politics.
Well, we do welcome you back to The Truth, Lies and Politics on Spirit TV. My name is Polykrot Eki, and we are in the space where we do have interesting conversation around the UPDF Amendment Bill. In studio with me is Mr. Kennedy Mutenyo from DP. We have Mr. Charles Romushana from Uganda. From Uganda, but he is political analyst and a former spy. Well, gentlemen, before we continue the conversation, there is a clip that would like, for you to watch. It was, a response from the Leader of Opposition to what the Right Honorable Speaker was talking about in regards to the time frame that you raised, Kennedy, of processing and passing this bill.
The committees are going to avail adequate time. But the committees went into the weekend and they began to write their report. What happened, Right Honourable Speaker? Did the committee disregard the guidance that you gave? I would request that you help us on that matter.
Thank you. Honourable Lob, to the committee, and after forwarding to the committee, they are supposed to report back. And we give them 45 days, within the 45 days. Now, if the committee finishes work in one day, who am I to say that why have you finished it today? I do not get involved in the committee work. Committee work is by the whips, government chief whip, opposition whip, independent whip, all those ones. Prime Minister, maybe you could answer why you have hurried with your work to bring in the House.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable Members, some time back I told you I'm one of the best performing Prime Ministers. So if I can produce work in such a short time, I want the Leader of Opposition to appreciate. That's what I can.
It's very possible, by the way, that the Prime Minister does not even know the contents of the committee report. But she was very quick to rise up to defend.
Honourable
Speaker, I am on procedure. Legal Committee Chairman, Honourable Namuyangu, I am on point of procedure. You're always absent here. You don't even know the rules.
Please.
Prime
Minister, order.
All right, those were some of the scenes that were in Parliament as this was passed. And Kennedy, has there been any other bill that has been passed as quickly as this one that you have, in previously? The attention given to this one, the way it was quickly passed. And do you remember, or do you have any recollection of such?
Thank you very much. Again, the remarks by the Right Honourable Prime Minister of Uganda are very unfortunate.
Why?
Very unfortunate to think, one, yes, it is her choice to judge herself as the best performing Prime Minister, that if they can produce a bill in one day or a few days, then that is good. But the bill must be produced very fast after consulting other people. You don't write to political parties. The Democratic Party is 70 years old, older than you, Madam Prime Minister. The Democratic Party has been around. NUP has done some years. They have membership from the whole country. You are there because of our borrowed powers we have lent you. But you are misusing them. You are misusing them. Our power in Article 1 of the Constitution is supposed to be exercised by our MPs on our behalf. You know we are in a multi-party dispensation. We are not like some other political parties where you are summoned and ordered on how to talk and what to say and what not to say. We need our input as a country, because when you start arresting people, when you start charging people, you are charging the people who have the power, who lent you the power. So
But
you are misusing the power.
Mr. Mutenyo, I am thinking, there is that what you're saying.
Yes.
But the statement, a Chiriko ground.
Yes.
Is that exactly what is happening, or the people on ground are actually it's like they're doing them a service? It's like they're giving you, it feels inverted instead, that the people on the ground, or the civilians, or you and I, it feels like we are being helped.
Yeah, we have, all of us have children who are at school. We have been at school.
Yes.
When you score less than 50%, no parent will be proud of that.
We'll clap for that, yes.
I've told you, Barometer did a research on the provision of democracy in this country. And it was found that it is around 32%. 32. Between 30 to 34%.
I think one of the Auditor General's reports also on how this parliament has performed on some of the rulings and implemented, I think, is about 30-something.
Yes.
Also.
So you are in the 30s after 4 years.
But after this bill, you're saying you are the best performer.
Then you come to tell us you are the best performer. Today, and that's why, on what is happening in Kenya, Boniface Mwangi was also released and deported back to Kenya.
Okay.
When the Detention Act came in 1969, detaining people without trial, the first victim was the man who supported it in Parliament. He had left the Democratic Party, the late Basil Vataringaya.
Was the first to...
Was the first.
The bill was applied on...
When they brought this POMA, Political Parties and Organizations Management Act, the person who was leader of business in Parliament was Right Honorable Mama Mbabazi. He was the first to test it in Jinja at Owen Falls Dam when he went to consult. Let me tell you, Madam Speaker, Madam Prime Minister, history repeats itself. I'm not threatening. History repeats itself. We have people who will regret
what has just happened.
This. Nobody, you have the numbers. Why the panic? Why invite a party like the Democratic Party and give it 1 hour?
Maybe you'd swing the decision, probably.
Evidence is here.
You'd swing the decision, yes.
NUP has complained about the same thing. However, I know some people have got what they call brain soldiers. Sorry, foot soldiers. But human beings do not think using their feet. They think using their heads. People should use brain soldiers to think this law has got eyes. This law has got ears. I appeal to my friends in the National Unity Platform. I appeal to my friends in the National Unity Platform. This is your message.
Right?
Today, Eddie Mutwe cannot vote. Segirinya is dead. You cannot play your politics when you are in prison. Please, even those red uniforms you've been wearing, when you are told there is a lion there, you don't pass there because you are brave. For some time, ask your supporters not to put on those berets, not to put on those uniforms, not to put on any types of boots and so on, not to get involved in the drills.
Because this is now...
especially after the president has sent to it, you wait until courts of law can
Make
throw
a
this
decision
law out.
out.
My late mother came from Fort Portal. We have a saying, the Batoro, that mwakimanzi nebara, mwakitini nebaseka. Meaning, at the brave man's home, people are on a grave crying because he was buried because he said he's brave. But the coward, which you might classify us as are happily smiling. Therefore, today, be cowards. And two, I'm very disappointed with the leadership of the opposition in Parliament.
Why? Why?
You
They
sit
chose to
and hold a press conference.
Are you
I watched
convinced?
Joel Senyonyi Honorable. I even put on
Right,
my
Honorable.
Facebook page thanking him for deciding to go to Parliament.
Then,
Less than 24 hours, you again lead the same people. Is it because they are foot soldiers, not brain soldiers? A whole member of Parliament. Today you are told we are going. The next day you are told no. Surely the walking out, did it stop this bill from passing? Did you listen to the opposition shadow minister, Attorney General, Justice, Honorable Odur? How I wish
submission.
he was UPC. He was DP.
DP.
His minority report was to the point. Actually, he says, and this is another thing we were discussing with Charles, he says there are live cases in court, in the East African court
Yes.
and our Supreme Court
Yes.
about this issue. You can't defy that. Where is the rule of law? Where do you want to leave this country?
If opposition stayed in, and people would say stayed in the fight, even if the bill was passed because of the numbers issues,
Let me give you.
would we have counted them?
Yes. Let me give you an answer. A very good one. When they passed was it the referendum bill or something on political parties, return of multi-party?
Yes.
Kennedy Chams stood up and told the then speaker, brought to the attention of the speaker that they did not have quorum. Like Odur was telling people yesterday,
Yes.
they ignored. Paul Kawanga Semogere, president of DP then, MP Zakar Olum, and Raina Kafire, who was an MP from Eastern Uganda, took this law to court. And the law was thrown out by simply the evidence
Of
that
lack of
Chamuzi of quorum.
Is it that
Now-
also what that happened to the was it the
Homosexuals,
homosexuals?
yes. Now, you don't get out, go on record. You were voted into parliament to debate, to talk. So, how many you are going to be remembered for having been a leader of opposition who was a champion of walkouts, which never yielded any fruit. Be man enough. Face these people like Honorable Odur did and say, this is wrong. Go on the record. That record can be part of the evidence that will throw this case out in courts of law.
Wow. And very, very passionate there, and I thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Yes.
The procedural matters and what the opposition MPs should have done. I do get to Charles, and
Sorry, before you go to him,
Very
Charles
quickly.
hinted about on it.
very quickly.
You cannot, the laws of Uganda, you cannot amend the constitution by an act of parliament. That is what they
You
did
can't
because they
amend-
knew this past law on UPDF court martial is amending the constitution. But you don't amend the constitution by
Through
an act of parliament. You bring a substantive motion
Yeah.
to amend the constitution. Tell
It's an
me,
irregularity.
even if we may have, even if somebody can say we have the worst judiciary, really, is there somebody who went to law school who can let this pass? Take this as a campaign matter
Yes.
for 2026. We start now. We do all this peacefully.
Yes. Wow. Thank you very much for that. Charles, what if this is asserted to, or if this goes through, what are the likely implications? There's something you mentioned last week when we were on the show about the power of the bill and the CDF. Could you re-echo that and then just give an expansion?
The authority given to
CDF.
To the CDF, is you have to look at the intention, the calculation, and generally speaking, Mr. Museveni never look at the tools. If Mr. Museveni is looking for a tool, if he's in Kabamba, attacking Kabamba for weapons, don't look at his action of Kabamba. Don't limit yourself on his operations of Kabamba.
What is
Yes. Monitor what he intends to do with the tools.
Okay.
So if he's taken Kabamba, don't spend most of your time on Kabamba. He attacked it, he took a few guns, maybe 30 or 40. Now no, he's going to use these guns to operate somewhere else. So you read the first one, if there is a robbery, if there is kidnap, and if there is and you've done them with the soldier, you are triable
in the court martial.
in the court martial. Who determines you did it with the soldier?
What do you mean, who determines?
How do you see? For you to stand in the court martial,
Yes.
for trial in the court martial, this bill says if you aided the soldier, if you abetted
In abetting crime, yes.
with the soldier,
Yes.
then you are tried in the court martial.
Okay.
So who is going to determine that you did it without a trial?
I hear, yes.
Because you see the
I get your
beginning point.
Yes.
And this is where we have what I told you, logic for advanced level.
Yes.
I don't see why the Katuntos didn't have that. To say, as far as in the CA, we said for you to be tried, there should be reasonable grounds to believe you've violated the law.
Yes. Absolutely.
So the charge should be sanctioned. It cannot be sanctioned by the investigator. Because the investigating authority is police.
It's police, yes.
So the police says you
did
issued
this.
a check and the check bounced. Yes, so they are now therefore preferring a charge of a bounced check. On the file, is there a check that bounced?
Yes or no?
That's point number one. Point number two, did the bank, have you confirmed, do you have a statement of the bank confirming that the check bounced? Is the check there that bounced? Is it an original check? Is he the one who issued it? So when you are satisfied, and all these are in accordance with the law. Most of the evidence obtained the evidence is obtained in accordance with the law.
Yes.
Now it is this file that you will take to a third party, and we put the office of the DPP. So now the DPP will look at it and say, yes, I am satisfied, and therefore signs.
Sanctions the file.
Yes. So then you are charged. But you are charged and you are presumed innocent. So the burden of proof is on the other
Is
party.
on the other one who's bringing the complaint.
So here he is saying there is murder, fine, but in this murder, a soldier was involved in this murder. So we are not going to charge you with the DPP.
We are going to charge you
with the court martial because the murder is supposed to be investigated by police.
Yes. So now, now the one who's judging you is the one also.
Because I don't see how
investigating the thing.
I don't see how a murder. You've come to the scene of murder. I don't see how they will do it with the army. Let me talk to you. A murder has taken place at point B. And the first thing you do, you seal the place. Scene of crime. Police does the investigations. So at what stage will they say, confirm that you did it with a soldier? Who is going to make a ruling
that there was a soldier?
That there was a soldier. Because for you to make a ruling that there was a soldier means you found me guilty.
So basically, in this sense, you are guilty.
So in other words, for you to take a decision,
yes,
that the phone. For you to take a decision that I should be tried in the court martial, it means me, and you've confirmed I did it with a soldier. So by the time I got the court martial, it means I am already guilty. So how are you now going to handle the presumption of innocence? So you see,
situation, yes.
So you see, the whole thing is fake, and the one who is designing it knows so. But he is not interested in justice.
What is he interested in?
It is containment. It is suppression. It is containment. I.e., hold you, keep you somewhere for purposes of politics, purposes of management. And it could be right. It could be right. Because, like, for instance, I've just been seeing here, if you drill people into military, they have arrested one of these lawyers of this Kyagulanyi gang because he was involved in drilling people into military drills. But limited to drilling, we could have seen drilling when actually you are mobilizing insurrection. You get? So they hold you and keep you somewhere to investigate another leg. So that's management. Because if they give you bail and you come, you may interfere. So the magistrate's court and the other courts, maybe they have issues with them and they decide to use one where it is convenient. Or they have issues with the DPP. I really don't know. Then when it comes to mode of trial, the High Court will insist that you pass over material evidence to the other party to prepare defense. Can you do it in the military? So in other words, it is very convenient to abuse the rules of a fair trial in the court martial than in the High Court.
And that is the worry. That is the worry with what is happening, is that somebody can just use this for their own or weaponize it.
If it is weaponizing, it's not going to be for
everyone.
No, for opposition. What you call opposition. Because what you call opposition never worries NRA.
What worries NRA?
But he almost was a supporter. And Mr. Museveni was saying Nebanda died of drugs. So Mr. Museveni was saying, no, it was, yes. The other party was saying poison. He was saying, no, it was drugs. So what was Bayomonsi's offense? He contradicted Mr. Museveni. And actually he didn't contradict him. He says, no, let's check.
Why to be do the investigation?
His own crime was to say, let's check. Let's have a scientific experiment. How to do it? You take parts. They said, but so are you saying I'm lying? You are contradicting me. So this doctor from Murago,
on yours or something.
Well, you remember he was picked at the airport.
Yes.
And Bariumus was arrested. The second one was Ruagaba. This guy of Central, Kampala Central. And who is the third one? Nsereko. The third one, there is another, they were dismissed
from the party.
You wanted actually to get them out of parliament by way of dismissing them from the NRA. It failed. Did it involve such coup? Something like that. It failed at the Supreme Court level. Now here you don't need to suffer with
that. You just
yes, because you see most of these political actors, including your Madam Mong and the others, they all love guards. They all love military guards. All of them love to have military guards around them. So a soldier who is guarding you shoots dead a person in your constituency. They arrest him and he says, I finally repatia order. So they charge that soldier. They charge that soldier with murder. And they say you aided and abetted this soldier. You go to court martial. And the trial will take 15 years or 20 years when you are there. So you are out of the...
and containment.
You are contained. You are fished out of what you are contained. So I've seen characters in the NRA that where it was a little bit rough. You saw the way they removed the guards from Mama Mbabazi, one of Mama Mbabazi. You notice the way it was done. The way it was done with the late Kategaya. I found the late Opakaburo's car, Benz, opposite Serena, the lower gate facing Crested Towers. Bonnet open and he was seated behind. The road was stuck. I couldn't go to greet him. He was my chairman of CA. Behind in the Mercedes-Benz, very old Mercedes-Benz, and the bonnet is up. He's stuck on the road. I can't tell you all the stories of Kategaya. So I have seen those in the NRA who have contradicted. And what was Wapakaburo's major problem was that he was opposing lifting term limits, amending the constitution in lifting term limits by use of a referendum. Because at that time there was a problem of PAFO, and it was most likely that Parliament was not going to amend
the constitution.
The constitution.
Wow.
Tumukunde was jailed here. He actually didn't go to resign.
Just for intent, saying.
Yes, and he was forced to resign from Parliament and was jailed. And later on, by that, I think court found out that he resigned. He was forced to resign unlawfully and constitutionally. But he was there for more than 3 years. So those who are inside, when it comes throwing them out, it's always rough. But you are now going into a transition. There is now complete transfer of power.
Yes.
The power of the chairman of High Command and Commander-in-Chief have been transferred to CDF. Mr. Museveni made a proclamation when he was launching that structure during the time of Mbadi and transferred the functions of the Commander-in-Chief to the CDF.
All right.
Now the CDF is Mhoz. So he has now put it into law. Should there be a state of emergency, should there be chaos, should there be war,
the CDF,
the CDF is in charge, is in command and control of the army. Now, this army has now been given powers over politicians.
Wow.
So not only will the army be disciplining militants,
but
it can also discipline politicians. You see, this army, this law has created a reserve force, but it has also created auxiliary forces. And it says a member of the auxiliary force can be more or less like transferred into a regular force.
Bring them back.
Can be recalled.
No, not recalled.
Just transferred.
See, an LODU is an auxiliary.
So they just transfer you into the regular
force.
Yes.
And an LODU is you. Because you are an LOC, you are in the village, you are picked, you are able-bodied, and you are now you will be defined as an auxiliary force, and you will be conscripted into the force. In other words, you've created a law that now gives the army, the high command, and their form powers of command and control of the army. So he's in charge of the courts, and they will be used to control civilians. The way it is used to control the army during time of war. So you are no longer subordinate. The courts are no longer subordinate. So please, the army is no longer subordinate to the civil authority. The civil authority is subordinate
to the army.
By the way, even this law does not give immunity to the Chief Justice. Judges can be picked.
Yes.
There are no exceptions to this. Yes. The bodyguard of the Chief Justice committed murder. And he pleads, the Chief Justice ordered me to shoot his wife.
Yes.
He makes a statement, so they charge you. So tell me which law will give you immunity. Because you don't have the DPP to look at the facts. You are already declared guilty. That's why you are tried there.
Wow.
You get so he's been given extensive powers. And I think and that's why I see it's being done very quickly, because we are entering into a complicated period. That's why you've seen this gang of Kyagulanyi, they are not deploying police.
They are all?
They are not deploying police.
They are deploying the army.
They have deployed the army. But this army does not have, so rather than use the electoral commission to regulate that gang or police, you now use but it has its own advantages also, because that gang is destroyed very quickly.
All right. These are far-reaching implications in this, and I know that we're getting to the tail end of our conversation, but in case you'd like to make a phone call or just contribute to the conversation, the numbers are online: 0759 100 008 or 0770 915 975. Mr. Mutenyo, when we were talking about I think he hinted on the penal code and the one on what is it called, drills.
Yes. I've sent it to you. You've seen it?
I've seen it. I think could you just give the
information I wanted to give under the instructions of Charles is that he has informed us that one of the NUP lawyers has been charged in court for that offense, contrary to section 45(1)(a) and B. This is what it says. It addresses the crime, and this is in relation to the advice we are giving you people. Addresses crime of defamation, which involves making untrue statements about another person that are intended to damage their reputation. This offense is punishable by up to 2 years. That is A. B says the penal code addresses the crime of unlawful and indecent assault of a woman or girl. This felony carries a serious penalty of up to 14 years plus additional corporate punishment. That is the law under which the other man
has been.
But there is also another one, unlawful drills.
Exactly. So, as Charles looks for the other one,
it's You've seen it? You read
This
it. I don't know.
I hadn't gotten it.
Kuisa Mugali.
Yes.
Kuvuma. Going on social media and attacking people. Read the Penal Code of Uganda, Section 45.
It's called unlawful drills. You see, you read it.
Unlawful drills, yes.
Well, I think I'll get it. But as we do search for that, Mr. Kennedy.
Yes.
What next? What next for you and I, and for the many citizens in this country, with this bill being passed, and as we await the whole court process and the president to assent to it, what next?
Like I've said, as the Democratic Party, we've been around for long. When you look at the cooperation agreement signed between NRM and DP, we knew the people we were signing it with. But it is on 4 pillars. If you hate the word cooperation agreement, listen to this. It talks about discussion on peaceful presidential transition. It talks about electoral and constitutional reforms.
Yes.
It talks about dialogue and reconciliation. We have wronged each other as Ugandans for a very long time. It's high time we sat down and said, let's discuss, let's forgive each other, let's have a fresh start.
Yes.
You don't get into violence because there you get into the speciality of the NRM. They've told you they are masters of violence. Therefore, we should do nothing that brings violence to this country. Because we are all brothers, we need each other.
Yes.
The NRMs are not enemies, NUP are not enemies, UPC are not enemies. When we want to talk about rule of law, let us follow the law. I think now the president has got to assent to the bill.
To make
That
it
is
law.
why it was important
Yes.
that our members of parliament remained in parliament. Collect enough evidence. When the president assents to bill, don't go to the streets. Go and use the brain. Go to courts of law. There are a number of laws that have been thrown out in Uganda through courts of law. Even after the president has assented. The other, original homosexual anti-homosexual bill was one. The Referendum Act that brought back political parties is another. The police act
was also rejected.
thrown out by court.
Yes.
Let us sit in parliament, use our brains, discuss. Don't ask our people to go on the streets to demonstrate because you'll get nothing. Don't fight each other. Do not abuse each other.
Let's relate as human beings, yes.
Whenever there is a problem between the legislature, who are our representatives, and this one, the judiciary is there to sort that out.
Right.
What is the way forward? Those who don't believe in this law go to courts of law.
All right. With that in mind, I think on the issue of the penal code, I think here we have in the Ugandan penal code, unlawful drilling refers to the unauthorized training or drilling of individuals to use arms or practice military movements or evolutions, or being present at such training. Especially in contravention of a regulation. And the act is considered a crime with potential penalties, including, imprisonment. But when you go to Section 48 of the Ugandan Penal Code, the act defines, yes, just that, exactly what it says. Now, potential penalties, unlawful drilling is a criminal offense that can result in imprisonment for up to 7 years. And that is where we are at, even just being in the area of unlawful drilling. But now my question, as we wind this down, who watches the army? when this is, who puts the army to account? If, with what Charles has explained, the army can pick anyone if this is assented to, it means the army now has the powers to be able to, pick you and take you to the court martials and all. Who now puts the army to account? Who now actually says you have gone overboard? Come back.
I'll answer that in 2 points. One, I think under democracy, the army is supposed to be subordinate to civilian rule. Civilian rule is we, the people, vote our representatives in parliament. The other day, a parliamentary committee had struggled to even summon an armed officer. That is my answer. Charles can have a more...
Charles can add... yes, and they received a warning letter for that matter. All right.
Under this law,
yes,
you've given that authority to the Court of Appeal.
To bring them back into line.
The Court of Appeal. But you see, by the time you exhaust, by the time you have your appeal settled and acquitted, you would have served the sentence. Given the nature of the administration of justice in Uganda, assuming court had not given Chiza bail, you are convicted for 7 months, and by the time your appeal is heard, you have served the sentence. Now in matters of death is the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to day-to-day business, the army is supposed to be under the High Command, which has several civilians, the permanent secretary, the ministers. But you see, when it comes to command and control, it's been given to the CDF and his chiefs, and they only relate with the president. But you see, the president, they recommend the president, so I don't see how the power of the president, because you have to look at the other committees, the National Security Council statute. You see, Parliament regulated the army, but through the law. And through the law, you have the National Security Council statute, which establishes the National Security Council, where either the Minister of Internal Affairs or the President chair the National Security Council, the CDF, Chief of Military Intelligence, Director Generals, Internal Security and External Security, are members as technical. But there you have the Attorney General. So you would have the Attorney General who would now guide them on the question of the law. And if it's a question of the law, then they would be controlled by Parliament, because Parliament controls by over legislation. That one now is different when the army is in a situation of war.
Of war, yes.
So it's a bit tricky, because now you've created two parallel systems. One where it's under the High Command, two where it's under the CDF, but just giving advisory CDF. Then when it comes to appointment of this tribunal court martial, when it comes to the appointment of judges, the Judicial Service Commission is independent.
Okay. For that court martial, yes.
No. For the appointment of judges. The Judicial Service Commission is independent. The only area where the president can defy the Judicial Service Commission is not to take their names, is not to forward the names to Parliament. So if the president is in disagreement with the Judicial Service Commission, he will not pick the names.
Okay.
But when they are looking for the names, they are independent. How they do their interviews, selection, etc. So they forward. But you see here, the court martial consults the Judicial Service Commission. It's not the other way around.
Okay.
The Judicial Service Commission should have probably sought for input from the court martial, from the high command. Give us names, and then he investigates against them and says, no, these ones, let militants of the foreign qualifications apply, and we interview them independently, and then we recommend. But then they don't, because how can the Judicial Service Commission recommend to high command? It means then it's not independent.
Okay.
Because the moment the Judicial Service Commission recommends to the president or to the high command, then it has lost independence.
All right.
You get. Then two, Parliament legislated itself out of the process of appointing a judge. Because Parliament is supposed to approve.
Yes.
Power of approval is huge. It's higher than appointment.
But it's legislated itself.
Yes, and gave it to the high command.
Wow. What?
Senior 6 and its equivalent.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles.
Because if they had said, the Judicial Service Commission shall recommend names for our approval, then they would have, if we approve the appointment of an IGP, Inspector General of Police,
then how about this?
You approve the appointment of a Vice President, Attorney General, judges, including the Chief Justice. How then do you exclude yourself from approving elements that are going to try civilians, including yourselves?
Wow. Thank you very much, Charles, for that. We shall end our conversation. Thank you very much, Mr. Kennedy Mutenyo. Scripture this evening is from Romans chapter 13, from verse 6 to 7. For because of this you also pay taxes, for they are God's ministers, attending continually to this very thing. Render therefore to all their due taxes, to whom taxes are due, customs, to whom customs, fear, to whom fear, honor, to whom honor. I would also like to add a note to that. When you read Psalms 127 verse 1, it says, unless the Lord builds the house, its builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchmen stand watch in vain. And so God is the one who looks after us. God is the one who protects us ultimately. And so let's go ahead and pray and live life knowing that at the background. Father, we thank you for the conversation we have had. We thank you for the enlightenment you've brought to us. And we ask, oh God, that we shall be able to put to practice the advice and the wisdom that has been shared on the show this morning. For anybody, Lord, that they'll be able to go ahead and do right by you. Heavenly Father, we ask that you continue keeping us safe and protecting us in our endeavors, in our journeys. May we reach our destination safe and sound. May you provide for us. May you bless PTV and our panelists this evening. Go before us and level the mountains. We thank you. For it's not by power, it's not by might, but by your spirit. We pray all this believing and trusting in Jesus' name. Amen. Big thank you to Mr. Mutenyo and Mr. Romushana. We hope to meet again very soon. Good evening.
The truth, the lies, and politics. Informative, educative, and analytical. Getting to the real issues that affect an ordinary individual in areas of leadership, governance, social, and economy. The truth, the lies, and politics.